Wherever you're watching, welcome. Now, we might think autonomous vehicles are a relatively new idea, but take a look at this.
The totally automatic car, no driver at all.
More than 50 years ago, in 1971, the BBC showed how autonomous or driverless vehicles could work on the UK's roads. But as we know, early predictions have failed to meet expectations. So why has it taken so long? Well, in cities like Beijing in China and in San Francisco, Phoenix, LA and Austin in America, you can actually order a driverless cab and a car will come to pick you up. Mike Johns was one of those passengers. He's someone whose job it is to look at how the future of humans and tech will work together. He ordered a car to take him to the airport, but then it started going round in circles. He told us about the experience that he also captured on video.
The car comes up, the door automatically opens. I actually ordered that. So the door automatically opens. You're feeling good. People are looking around. Wow, that's the future. He's in there. Get in the car, shut the door, the car takes off. Those same people are looking. That's the funny part. Those same people are looking. Now the car is going in a circle.
Okay, why is this happening to me on a Monday?
And at this point, this is probably lap 4 or 5, where you end up hearing the voice coming over the system.
Hi there, Mike. This is Gab. I'm calling from Waymo Support.
I actually had it scheduled and planned to do this ride with my son because it's going to be a normal thing for him. So I might as well start at an early age. He's only 12. So it would have been a lot different had he been in the car.
Why is this thing going in a circle? I'm getting dizzy. Look at what it's doing.
I understand. I'm really, really sorry, Mike. We're currently working with the situation of the vehicle.
We went from this humanless experience that here's a recognized voice. Uh-oh, there's a voice. It's instructing me. It's telling me something. It's a little bit soothing, but is this a person?
I got my seatbelt on. I can't get out the car. Has this been hacked? What's going on? I feel like I'm in the movies. Is somebody playing a joke on me? And I got a flight to catch.
If you have your app pulled up, I need you to tap My Trip in the lower left corner of your app.
Why is my phone a part of this discussion? At any rate, by lap 6 or whatever, I had to do the edit, the ride, and they were able to kind of auto-correct their mistake. We're a part of an experiment, and you're paying to be a part of this experiment. And any mistake that happens, we just auto-correct as we go along. When it comes to autonomous vehicles that are on the road, we're still in this half-baked phase.
Well, the company Waymo, which operated the car that Mike got into, says a software update has already taken care of that issue. Earlier last year, it recalled more than 600 cars to make them less likely to drive into telephone poles. Well, Waymo is owned by Alphabet. That's the company behind Google. It's the biggest operator of autonomous taxis in the US. And it's a veritable who's who of tech that are getting into the sector. Zoox is owned by Amazon. Elon Musk's Tesla is working on its own range of autonomous vehicles. The chipmaker Nvidia has its own platform and is investing widely, including in China's WeRide. Meanwhile, in China, Baidu is already running 300 robotaxis in Wuhan. But other major players have tried and failed to make it work. It emerged in February last year that Apple was ending its autonomous car project despite never actually confirming it had one. General Motors folded its autonomous vehicle brand Cruise in December after some high-profile injuries. So why have they failed? Well, it could be down to users themselves, or rather their nervousness to embrace the new tech. According to the American Automobile Association, a full 2/3 of Americans fear self-driving cars. A quarter of them are, quote, uncertain of them, and fewer than 10% actually trust them. And if anything, those fears have got worse over the last 4 years. One of the people working with some of the big players is the man who heads up the American arm of the global consultancy McKinsey and its Centre for Future Mobility. Philipp, welcome to the programme. It's good to have you with us. And look, part of your job is assessing attitudes all over the world when it comes to new technology like this. What are you hearing from people about the way that AVs will change the way that we get around the world?
It's very interesting because a lot of people talk about electric vehicles. And we at McKinsey would say, actually, autonomous vehicles might be the much bigger game changer than electric vehicles. For the city of Washington, D.C., we asked the question, what's actually cheaper, owning a car or using e-hailing 100% of the time, like Uber or Lyft? And the answer is 2,500 miles. If you drive more than 2,500 miles in a year, you should own a car. If you drive less than that, it will be cheaper for you to just use e-hailing. Now, in your e-hailing, the most expensive part is the driver. And autonomous vehicles or robotaxis come with a promise that you can take out the driver and save that cost. So all of a sudden, the break-even point changes from 2,500 miles to 7,500 miles. Now you can ask the question, how many people in the city of Washington, D.C. do actually drive more than 7,500 miles per year? And the answer is about 50%. So for 50% of the population in D.C., from a pure economic perspective, it doesn't really make sense to own a car anymore.
And what fascinates me, Philipp, here as well is that it's not just about how we get around. That, therefore, has the ability to reshape how we consider building our cities around the infrastructure that is needed, the way that we might consider things like car parking and on-street facilities. It utterly changes the game. And yet, whilst that's been the dream for so long, it's still some way off, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you ask me, I founded our McKinsey Center for Future Mobility about 10 years ago. And when we first started, we looked at autonomous driving technology. And to be honest, we said it is still very far out, at least 10 years, maybe 20 years. We will see. Now, fast forward to today, I actually have changed my mind probably 12 months ago, maybe 18 months ago. I am a true believer that the technology is pretty much there already.
And so if the technology is available, what are the hurdles that will still come in the way of adoption?
I put it into two different buckets. It's sort of consumer acceptance, and then for the autonomous vehicle robotaxi players, they need to be able to make the business case a profitable business case. So when the two of them come together, at that point in time, we will see adoption at scale. So if we dive into the first one, customer acceptance, this looks actually quite different across the globe. McKinsey has done a survey last year with about 36,000 people across the globe. And we asked the question, should governments already legalize autonomous robotaxis today? Interestingly enough, in the United States, only 11% said yes. In Germany, it was the same. Only 11% of the people said, yes, government should legalize robotaxis already today. Now that number looked very different in China. In China, it was 31%. And then if you add the people that said, well, maybe not today, but within the next couple of years, then China scored as high as 97%. So in general, the public in China is much more open. I would really say the US and China are competing at eye-to-eye level. Now, how this is going to play out in the coming years, it's going to be interesting to watch. Now, I could totally see a world where actually both of them will winner, and both of them will focus on their respective geographies. Because one thing you need to keep in mind, this might actually become a concern of national security. Because when you think about it, you have tens of thousands of robotaxis driving around in your cities without any drivers, all being controlled by the same software. At that moment, cybersecurity becomes a really, really important topic. And that's why you might not see, Chinese autonomous players operate in the US or the other way around.
Now, I posed a question at the start of this show and asked whether this is the year that autonomous vehicles finally really, excuse the pun, move into the fast lane. Is it your belief that that will happen this year? Because there have been so many predictions, so many expectations, so many hopes that autonomous vehicles would be rolled out en masse by now. We have BBC footage from the 1970s showing what these vehicles may be capable of. It's still not happened. Is this the year it happens?
I would say maybe this year and the next couple of years together. What you will see this year and then the following years is adoption in two dimensions. One, in the cities where you have already robotaxis, whether that is Phoenix or San Francisco or LA, we're going to see a scaling of the operations. So you will see more and more vehicles operate in these cities. And in some of these cities, the area in which the vehicles can operate is still very confined. So you will see an expansion of that service as well, and you can truly go in all parts of the city. So that's one. The other thing that you will see next year and in the following years is an opening of additional cities. We've already seen some of the announcements, whether that is Austin, Texas, whether that is Atlanta or Miami. We will see a commencement of these services in a lot of these southern cities of the United States. And I'm saying southern cities because robotaxis still operate much better in good weather conditions. They still, for the most part, struggle in heavy snow, for example. And also the compute power takes a lot of sort of energy and electricity from the batteries, and the batteries tend to perform better in warm weather conditions than cold weather conditions. So bringing this all together, in the second part of the 2020s, you will see one city after the other being unlocked and then a scaling within these cities. Now I'm saying this is only going to happen if we're not running into major accidents. The moment major accidents are going to happen, a lot of these operations are going to be shut down.
Philipp Kampshoff, it's been so good to have you on the programme this week. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.